It is single-handedly one of the dumbest things I've ever said in a theory, and I have said a lot of dumb things in theories.
Yes. Yes, you have. Hello Internet, and welcome back to Swooper Duck, where today we're going to be talking about MatPat's video on Spider-Man PS4, and I am aware of how old this video is, but I can't stop thinking about it. It haunts my nightmares. It haunts them, okay? I can't stop thinking about it. It bothers me so much. Let's get into this.
And what started out as a film theory on journalistic ethics became this, a script all about how J. Jonah is undoubtedly the single biggest hero of this PS4 exclusive game. You heard me right, biggest hero in a game featuring Spider-Man.
This is gonna be a doozy.
Since we see the world from Peter Parker's point of view, Jameson appears to be a rage-fueled fearmongerer who's looking to sell more papers and get more listeners by spreading lies through his clickbaity stories and tinfoil hat anti-Spider-Man conspiracies.
This is going to come up more later, but Jameson looks bad from Peter's point of view because Peter's point of view is just the one with all the context.
But if we stop looking at the world from Spider-Man's point of view and instead from an outsider looking in, Jameson isn't actually all that bad.
That is just straight up deceptive. Why would we blatantly ignore information that we have? Oh, I know why. Because it makes your theory make more sense.
But then look at this.
Keep straight.
Oh, did you see that kick to the guy's lower back? And how his body just folds over in response. Being slammed forcefully into the pavement and landing on your head and neck? Pretty sure that's gonna be fatal, or at the very least paralyze him. Swinging around a riot shield like that? That is a ballistic riot shield that weighs in at around 16 to 20 pounds, and Spider-Man is just clubbing people with it. Even if these are criminals, think about the injuries they must have when they're being arrested. Debilitating injuries, lifelong injuries. Does that really instill heroic confidence in the guy who captured them?
It is not helping when a vigilante leaps into the middle of a crime scene or emergency situation with no training, expertise, or public identity. What if he injures someone? Who holds him accountable?
Notice how in that clip Jameson says, if he injures someone? This implies that all the finishers and brutal moves are just a gameplay feature and not actually canon. Plus, it's never actually said anywhere in the game that he's killing or seriously injuring people.
And when Spider-Man openly says stuff like this,
"Morning, guys! Who's ready for their hot, fresh cup of bodily harm?"
it doesn't inspire much confidence, especially in a universe where a regular guy dressed as Spider-Man is able to cause injuries like this.
My doppelganger's got some skills. This won't need painkillers for a few days, but should be fine.
First off, the hot cup fresh of bodily harm is obviously a joke. And second off, why is it Spider-Man's fault that someone dressed up as him and beat up a bunch of people? Like, if I dress up as someone and then beat up a bunch of people, it's not their fault.
Let's be honest here, it doesn't seem like the police in this game appreciate the help that Spider-Man's delivering, saying repeatedly throughout various missions, speaking of not being a help to police, Spider-Man seems to be creating more problems than he's solving. In the mission Internet Famous, the social media icon Screwball literally kidnaps someone just to get footage of old Webheb to be a part of the live stream.
The final Matrix barcode will give you the location of a... wait for it. Kidnapping victim.
To help her in her quest against Spider-Man, her fans actively plant bombs across the city's rooftops.
Some of my fans decided to bring you a little care package. You might want to grab those fast. People could get hurt.
Then you have the Taskmaster, who's leaving all kinds of bombs and challenges around the city to test Peter.
Can you stop the bombs I've planted?
First off, that's a throwaway line of dialogue in a crime, plus Peter repeatedly works with Yuri Watanabe, who is a police captain. Second, how is it Spider-Man's fault that Screwball and Taskmaster are planting bombs? It's like saying that if someone's stalking you and hurts people to get closer to you, then it's your fault. That makes no sense. Also, Screwball didn't kidnap someone, she was a kidnapped person.
And even when Spider-Man is trying to solve the city's issues, he's creating more problems than he's solving. For example, in the mission Under Pressure, one building's water pressure is too high, and it's up to Spider-Man to pull a Bob the Builder and fix it. He tries by releasing a particular valve, but instead of solving the issue, it causes other water tanks around the city to burst.
That shouldn't have happened. I better seal these fast before Jameson pins it on me.
Excuse me? Why wouldn't Jameson pin it on you? You literally just caused it to happen. And what, pray tell, was the underlying cause this entire time? Oh, a clogged sewer. That's it. So what started as a simple issue in one building became a city-wide problem thanks to Spider-Man.
I will concede on this one, MatPat has a pretty good point. But I don't believe that Spider-Man is entirely in the wrong, since he does talk as if he's very familiar with these things and very confident, and I do think a city official would probably make the same mistake as they wouldn't be aware of the clogged vent.
While many of the papers are quick to report on Spider-Man's successes, they often miss what Jameson is so quick to point out, that many of the issues that Spider-Man solves are caused by Spider-Man in the first place.
But look at the big picture. Do you have these kind of crimes in Edina?
Oh, certainly not.
And do you have Spider-Man in Edina?
No.
And that is not a coincidence.
No, it is certainly not a coincidence, JJ, because for as ridiculous as the game tries to make J. Jonah's anti-Spider-Man rants, literally everything that happens in this game is a direct result of Spider-Man's actions. Spider-Man taking down crime lord Wilson Fisk at the top of the game is exactly what Martin Lee was waiting for to enact his plan against the city. As Lee writes in his own journal, quote, "Wilson Fisk has been arrested. I can barely believe it. The day I've planned for, dreamed of, is finally here."
This statement reeks of MatPat not being able to sufficiently play this game, because anyone who is very familiar with the plot of this game knows that Peter's biggest character flaw is blaming himself for everything, meaning that that's how the game is framed. Thus, when you have someone trying to make a theory on the game and hasn't played the game enough, it will seem to them like everything is Peter's fault.
And what began as a bunch of common mob thugs working for the Kingpin suddenly gets replaced by Mr. Negative's legion of superpowered demon people. And honestly, it shouldn't be all that surprising. History has shown time and again that an upheaval of organized crime can result in periods of extreme and deadly violence. For example, following the death of Pablo Escobar, the richest criminal in history, a Colombian drug lord whose cartel supplied nearly 80% of the cocaine smuggled into the United States, giving him a net worth of $50 billion, Colombia descended into a period of chaos. Attorney Peter Vincent described the situation, quote, "Every time a major leader, or any sort of transnational criminal organization, gets taken out of the game, there's a vacuum that's created, and nature abhors a vacuum. There were literally hundreds of dead bodies as individuals tried through sheer force of power and murder to establish their bona fides as the next generation of leaders," end quote. It's something that Fisk knows.
Idiots! I'm the one who kept order in this city!
It's something that J. Jonah knows.
We're gonna have a gang war in the streets, but does that whip-headed moron give a damn? Of course not.
It's something that anyone who's interested in taking a part in law enforcement in a major city should know, but Spider-Man? Nah, he's out there to solve the crimes, not deal with the messy political ramifications that come as a result of it.
The way MatPat frames this makes it seem like Spider-Man arrested Wilson Fisk, but he didn't. He just stopped Wilson Fisk from evading police capture, which is illegal. Like, the police have a warrant. They say that in the opening of the game.
Captain Watanabe.
Did you take him down yet?
No, we're at Fisk Tower, but still waiting on the warrant.
This also means that it would be the police's job to prevent the crime vacuum, not Spider-Man's.
J. Jonah might not realize it, but Spider-Man is also at fault for unleashing Dr. Octopus. Peter Parker helps Dr. Octavius invent this incredibly dangerous prosthetic that doesn't show up to work on time,
Sorry I'm late.
resulting in its catastrophic failure and Otto's loss of funding.
The grant agreement you signed has strict safety provisions. This isn't your first violation.
And why was Peter late? Oh yeah, because he was too busy Spider-Manning it up, which creates both Mr. Negative, Doc Ock, and the rest of the city's supervillains set free.
One thing is Peter's fault. The motion that ends up setting Otto on the path to become Doc Ock, which is him being late to work. But from the information that Peter had, it was the correct thing to do. With the information that Peter had, because hundreds of officers could have died, and Wilson Fisk still would have gotten away if Peter didn't do something. And also, Ock basically invented the arms by himself. I mean, sure, Peter fine-tuned them, But that's not really Peter's fault. He was just doing what he was supposed to do under the guise they would be used to help people who were disabled. And something really specific is that when Peter was fine-tuning it to get the delay shorter, he wasn't even aware it was for the AUK arms yet. He still thought it was for the normal prosthetic arm. Also, one thing that people miss is in the Insomniac universe, the arms didn't make AUK crazy. It didn't, affect his brain. He was always just a bad person. The arms just allowed him to do what he wanted. Before he had the arms, he was already 3D printing prototypes for Shocker's new armor, and he already had plans of the raft.
Jameson even goes through great lengths to disclose other biases he might have, such as reporting about Scorpion.
I want to address the matter of the Scorpion. I paid for the procedure that empowered him. It's not my fault the treatments drove him crazy. It's that ivory tower elite scientist, he didn't take proper precautions.
Now, I don't know the full context of the procedure in this universe, so I'm going to draw on other sources, so take this with a grain of salt. But just because Jameson acknowledges it, that doesn't change the fact that he paid for someone to be empowered to then try to kill Spider-Man.
In fact, he's the only one standing up for the common people of New York. When Mayor Osborn calls in Sable, a private security firm that jails innocent civilians and takes militaristic control over the city,
Come on! Demons and escaped prisoners on the loose, and you're arresting protesters?
J. Jonah is there to call them out.
Well, I do agree with Mappa here, and I'm pretty sure he's just using this as a way to say that Jameson is a good person, which I agree with. He's not just like a crazy conspiracy theorist in this game. He is a stabilizing voice sometimes. He also implies that Spider-Man isn't doing the exact same thing and taking down these Sable bases, and he clearly shows that in that clip. Now, there is more time left in MatPat's video, but I'm not going to be going over that because I agree with all his points about Jameson being a stabilizing voice. I just mostly disagree with his stuff about Spider-Man being evil because I just don't think that's correct. But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching. Also, if you could please like, comment, and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it.